Well, here we have a beautiful 1976 Eldorado finished in a new for 1976 color, Phoenician Ivory, which is a really kind of creamy yellow, custardy color. And this one is in great shape with just, I think, 4,000 miles. It still has the original bumper fillers. You can see that it says unleaded fuel only under that centerpiece, and all the other bumper fillers still have the trim around them, and they're flexible. So these are still original. Cadillac built this car as its last convertible because they thought that it couldn't meet the impending rollover standards with convertible tops. So quite a few of these were sold, 14,000 in total convertibles sold in 1976, making it the best year for Cadillac convertibles since 1970. This one's also finished with this really unique covered light ivory interior to go along with the Phoenician Ivory exterior in beautiful condition. I mean, you can see the dash doesn't have any flaws. These did have a unique gunstock style trim, as it was called, on the doors and on the dash with the casket handle, door handle. And interesting for me, these do have a glass rear window, but they never finished the underside of the convertible top. These roof bows are just visible from the inside, which I didn't think was very becoming of a Cadillac, but quite typical for the day. These do have a unique operating top mechanism too, kind of a scissors top that allows for a full width back seat. But it looks like when you're putting the top down or up that it's broken. It kind of goes down, side to side. You can see here it's got the full width back seat. It's got the lamp monitor there in the middle, as well as up there on the front fender to make sure your lights are working. This car doesn't have Twilight Sentinel or Guidematic headlamp control. It just has the manual headlights, but seems to have quite a few other options. And it's got the pinstriping around the beveled hood. So Cadillac went to this front end in 1975 with the square headlights, continued it for 1976, and the beveled hood continued. That was introduced in 1971 with a styling theme that was really based on a four-fendered theme that GM designers were pioneering during the time, kind of a throwback to the Great Gatsby era and the big cars with the four-fendered look. This car lost a little bit of that. The 71 has more of the four-fendered look. This doesn't have the skirted rear wheel. And it's also missing the rear part of the four-fendered look. It's got a little bit of one, but nothing like the 71 too. You see the car doesn't have great quality by this time area. Look at the gaps on here. Unfortunately, Cadillac was just pumping out vehicles as fast as it could, given that their sales were so high and they're trying to meet demand. Not the right thing to do. Still an interestingly styled car. It's kind of got a little bit of the boat tail rear too. You notice that the trunk has a bit of a boat tail theme to it, albeit nothing nearly as extreme as the actual boat tail Riviera. Seating for these could come in either cloth or leather. This is obviously leather. Still has a flat floor that's facilitated by front-wheel drive on the Eldorados. And here's a copy of the window sticker. You can see it's got a decent number of options. Doesn't have all the doodads I previously mentioned. Doesn't have Twilight Sentinel, Guidematic headlamp control. You can even get fuel injection as an option in these years for the 500 cubic inch engine underhood, which amazingly, 500 cubic inches yielded all of 190 horsepower in stock four-barrel carburetor form, or 215 horsepower with the optional fuel injection. Personally, I would take the carburetor, as the fuel injection had a number of issues, wasn't overly reliable. And interesting odd bit of trivia for you, the original throttle position sensor for the fuel injection setup was so antiquated that there are only 16 positions that are sensed by the throttle position sensor. That's it, 16 positions of throttle. Obviously, a lot has changed since then in terms of electronic controls. One interesting thing about the styling of this Cadillac is by 1976, this car doesn't have vertical taillights anymore. Notice the taillights are horizontally mounted underneath the trunk lid. It does have the vertical style fin, but those are not taillights. Those are just reflectors. So one of the Cadillacs of the era that really didn't have vertical taillights, albeit it sure looks like it did. And in 1977, I believe, they went back to the taillight being integrated into that fin shape, which continued on through the 1978 model year. These cars sold really well. It's interesting, the 1967 to 70 Eldorado is often viewed as the pinnacle of styling, and perhaps it is. But truth be told, the 71 to 76 Eldorado actually sold more in volume. And in 1976, between the coupe and the convertible, it sold almost 50,000 units, which was quite high. I mean, if you think about in 1967, the Eldorado sold nothing near that, 50,000 units. It actually only sold 17,930 units in 1967. And over the course of 1967 to 1969, the largest sales year did not exceed 25,000 units. So overall, the 71 to 76 generation was well liked by customers. And, I think the exterior styling is still quite unique. They did start cheaping out on some of the materials on the interior in particular. And as I mentioned before, the build quality, I think, really took a nosedive with this generation, just as Cadillac was trying to produce all that it could build. There are 2 model years left of this Eldorado, 1977 and 1978, before it would be redesigned in 1979. 1977 and 8, you can denote those by block lettering spelling Eldorado on the front of the hood there, as well as those end pieces that are stainless or painted black on the 77 and 78s. This car also, I would say, the sheet metal stamping quality isn't great. Look where I'm pointing in that area on the fender, just behind the rear wheel. You can see the light is reflecting quite strangely on it, and that's just the stamping quality was not all that great, just like the assembly quality was not that great. So, as I said, unfortunately, kind of the beginning of the fall from grace for Cadillac, in spite of this car having just tremendous presence. And I have to say, this one in the Phoenician Ivory really does speak to me, because it's, there was the Bicentennial Edition that had the white interior with the red piping and the white exterior with the red pinstripe. This is just so unique, and the owner of this car has something that's really, really special. Not a color for everybody for sure, but I think one that highlights the vehicle, highlights its surfacing, and looks great on this enormous car, with a 126.3-inch wheelbase at the time, which was small by Cadillac comparison, with the DeVille having a 130-inch wheelbase and the Fleetwood Brougham having a 133-inch wheelbase. In any event, hope you enjoyed this walk-around of a beautiful 1976 Eldorado. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, take care. Thanks again for watching this video walk-around of the 1976 Eldorado. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help the YouTube algorithm serve this up to more viewers like you. And until next time, check out the video thumbnails at bottom left and right for some suggestions for you. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, take care.